Welcome back. We're here to look ahead to Saturday afternoon's Premier League match between Leicester and Watford. Barnes will start with the home side. Can anyone beat them after taking the lead?
It's incredible, isn't it? The way they just build up this momentum after falling behind in every match. 10 points from losing positions now this season, which after 11 games is a fantastic statistic for them. Obviously, not so good that they keep falling behind, but the way they respond to that, usually in the second half as well, they just build up the momentum and they seem unstoppable. Ranieri's really instilled that never say die attitude in them. They never believe that they're beaten, and with the players they've got, they exploit that, and they're never going to give up. The likes of Jamie Vardy, who I'm going to mention in a second, after eight games in a row now, he scored after the goal against West Brom, where again they were forced to come from behind. Rondon's header, Schmeichel just couldn't keep it out of the front post, but then the way they responded in the second half, Mahrez, who he started the season in fantastic scoring form, went off the boil a little bit over the last month or so, but back to his best with a couple of goals against West Bromwich Albion. Both decent finishes as well, cushion volleys from good Mark Albrighton crosses, but it was all about the man of the moment, Jamie Vardy again, wasn't it? Another goal for him, you just can't stop him scoring. This one, his final touch before shooting, it looked like he'd taken it a bit far out wide, a bit of a heavy touch, but he still kept his composure, tucked it right in the bottom corner, left the keeper no chance, and now he's in elite company with Daniel Sturridge and Ruud van Nistelrooy, the only other players to have scored in 8 games in a row. So that's a fantastic record for him to have, and no one really saw that coming from Jamie Vardy, but he just seems unstoppable at the moment. I would say the one perhaps minor concern for Leicester is that what happens if he and Mahrez go off the boil, because they've been responsible for 18 of their 23 league goals so far this season, but that doesn't really look like happening at the moment. I think those concerns are some way off, and that's a bridge for Ranieri to cross if he ever comes to it, but at the moment it's all looking good for Leicester, all looking good for Vardy especially.
Yeah, you mentioned that final touch he took in that goal against West Brom. I actually thought, he was sprinting, he's a really quick player, sprinting at pace, and the way he was using both feet, and that left foot touch, I thought actually just took it away from the defender just enough for him to then finish. I thought it was we talked about his finish last week comparing him to Messi, the way he flicked it over the keeper. I thought that was another fantastic finish from him, and like you say, elite company now with those 8 straight, he scored in 8 straight games, and you look at their league position now as well, they're third, 22 points, only 3 behind Arsenal and Man City at the top, and we're not considering them title contenders for sure, but I think the thing we said after sort of 5, 6, 7 games is that if they did drop off, they wouldn't be away from the relegation zone. I think now we can probably say, unless it goes drastically wrong for them, like you say, maybe if Mahrez and Vardy go off the boil and that none of the other players step up, they might go on a really bad run. But I think for the time being, you have to say they look pretty safe from any sort of relegation battle this year, and they should be targeting a top half finish, which, considering where they were for most of last season, is a fantastic achievement. For Ranieri, they've only lost 1 of 14 in all competitions under him. Only Spurs have lost as few games as that this season, so it's a tremendous record. And City as well, they're the only team that scored more than Leicester this season, 23 goals. They have been doing fantastic. The one thing they need to do is do a bit better defensively. They did get the win last week 3-2, but did concede 2 more goals, and they've got the worst defence outside the bottom 6. So that's one area they need to improve. They want to become, say, a top 7 contender, but it's hard to criticise Leicester. I know from where they were last season and the fact they're sitting third in the Premier League after 11 games of the season, it's a tremendous achievement.
Obviously this form has spilled over from last season as well, when they ended the campaign so well to escape relegation and stay in the division, and it's now 1 loss in their last 9 home games, which is a fantastic record and the basis of their really good form. Obviously with their style, they're going to be a threat away from home as well, but home is where you really pick up the majority of your points, and they've been doing that. In fact, only Arsenal and Chelsea have won at the King Power Stadium since February, which is stretched back at 13 games. You're only losing to those elite company, then you're going to be picking up quite a few points along the way. What you would say is there's tougher fixtures on the horizon. They got Watford this weekend and Newcastle the match after that, which 2 games you'd expect them to win in this sort of form, and 2 games you'd expect Vardy probably to score and to equal Van Nistelrooy's record of 10 goals, but then he comes up against Van Nistelrooy's former club Manchester United, perhaps looking to break the record if he can score in those 2 games, and then after United you got Swansea, Chelsea, Everton, Liverpool and Man City in your final 6 games of the year. So it's going to be a difficult end of the year. If they're still in and around the top 4 come January, it'd be a fantastic achievement and certainly a great start to the season. It's going to be tough for them, but certainly the next couple of weeks they'll fancy their chance of staying in third, perhaps even moving up, because they'll fancy maximum points out of those 2 games.
Yeah, you say they'll fancy maximum points, but Watford come into this game, they've won back-to-back games 2-0, they're sitting 11th now in the table, and they certainly look the best equipped of the 3 promoted sides to be able to stay in the league this season. Both Bournemouth and Norwich really struggled in recent weeks, but certainly for Watford it's been some fantastic results. Last weekend, they hosted West Ham, and we know that West Ham are usually much better on the road, and that was probably arguably Watford's best performance of the season. Being able to keep out that West Ham side with the likes of Payet, who's been one of the standout players in the whole league. So for them to do that, it was Ighalo again with the goals. 2 goals. One of them looked like a Cresswell own goal, but I think it was given to Ighalo. And certainly, West Ham, they had the best away record of anyone going into that game. It was 13 out of 15, and we know who they're beating this season: Arsenal, Liverpool, City away from home. So for Watford to keep them out and win 2-0, fantastic from them. And really good couple of wins they got, because it was Stoke they beat the week before. After Stoke, I think they'd won 4 in a row going into that. So two really, really good wins for Watford, and you have to say that defensively they've looked really sound. They've got the best defence outside the top 5. They've only conceded 10 in 11 games. So you have to say defensively they look solid, and the last 2 games just scoring goals as well to eke out wins. So really, really impressive from Watford, and you have to say Igalo is the man of the moment again.
Yeah, I mentioned how important Mahrez and especially Vardy were for Leicester, but Igalo's been just as important, if not even more important, for Watford. He's got 7 of their 10 goals this season. He's already the highest ever Premier League goal scorer after only playing 11 games in the league, which are incredible statistic, really. If he gets injured, if he goes off the boil, they're going to need someone to step up. But just like Vardy, just like Mahrez, at the moment, he's scoring goals for fun, and his record in 2015 is phenomenal. He's ended the Championship season last season so well, so all's going well for Igalo at the moment. He is a minor doubt for this weekend. I think he picked up a dead leg against West Ham, but he should be fit to start, and Watford really need him to start at the moment, the form he's in. The concern for Watford will be that lasting a distance, their second half displays. If matches ended at half time this season, they'd actually be top of the league, which is another incredible statistic. They conceded 9 of their 10 goals this season in the second half, which is something they need to improve upon, but they've certainly done well for the newly promoted sides, the best of the newly promoted sides. Away from home, they've only lost 1 of 5 games all season, and that was against Manchester City, so they're doing well on that front as well. Unbeaten in the last 3 away games since August, so again, everything's looking positive for them. 2 back-to-back wins, as you mentioned. They'll be feeling confident going into this game as well.
So 2 sides very high on confidence at the moment. Which way do you see it going?
I just can't back against Leicester at the moment. The way they're going, I can probably see Watford perhaps getting a goal, because Leicester, they've only kept 1 clean sheet all season. But for me, it's another Leicester victory. I'm going to go for 2-1.
2-1. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I thought potentially I can't really see Watford winning this one. I mean, it would be some achievement if they do, but I think, like you said, the way Leicester are going at the moment, and just the buzz around the club, the buzz around Vardy, I think it's hard to back against them, and I'm going to agree with 2-1 as well. So both picking Leicester to win this one 2-1. Thanks for joining us.